Watch and burn.
Hey everybody. So tonight I would like to discuss Michael Mann's 2005 film, and that is the poorly received and the potentially oddly casted Miami Vice. I didn't like this movie the first time I saw it. I didn't like it the second time I saw it. And for some reason I kept going back to watch it again and again. Now I know that the fact that I grew up loving the TV show Miami Vice has played a significant part in why I kept trying to watch this till I liked it over and over again. And I do really like a lot about this movie, but my issues with it are that Jamie Foxx and Colin Farrell, they don't have the worst chemistry, but they are not Philip Michael Thomas and Don Johnson. Philip Michael Thomas and Don Johnson, those two characters, the vibe, the feel, the chemistry, everything was just there. Those two actors, like for them, Crockett and Tubbs via Michael Mann's TV show, they were so perfectly casted that you couldn't help but fall in love with both of them on their own as well as a duo. That is sort of here, but at the same time, it's kind of not. I love the weather. Every time, and whenever you get like a wide shot where you see the sky in the background, it's always starting to like, there's a thunderstorm brewing, and there's always like lightning, which is something that I always think of when I think of Michael Mann's movies. It might have a lot to do with this movie and this movie alone, but whenever I think of Michael Mann's films, I always think of like stormy weather. I didn't love too how Don Johnson and Philip Michael Thomas weren't in this, even in some sort of just walking by in the background cameo sense. I thought that was kind of rude, especially considering that, Miami Vice made Michael Mann who he was, and then he makes the movie that, with the two characters, and then to not have the two guys that made the characters so legendary in the first place, I thought that was a little disrespectful. I also don't love how at the end, during the big shootout, they had some band redo the Phil Collins Something in the Air Tonight. They redo the Phil Collins song and it just doesn't work. It sounds like a mid-2000s guitar-based rock band's cover of it. And it just doesn't work. What would have been cool to sort of merge the old and the new was to have the original song by Phil Collins kick in. That really would have hyped up the original fan base and got us all a little more invested. But then when you hear whoever the band is, their take on it, it's not bad. They're competent. They know how to play. But it's just lifeless. It has no soul. And that's the big shootout at the end. And then the movie concludes with, oh my God, the last track used right before the movie cuts is Auto Rock by Mogwai. Absolutely brilliant choice to close the movie out with. But I just didn't love that. The song at the end really dug deep. I was like, fuck, this is almost too much. The thing I liked about this movie was it was just essentially a feature-length collection of things that happened throughout the course of Miami Vice, the TV show. They sort of merged a bunch of episodes into a movie. And I thought that was really cool. Because, for example, Trudy is kidnapped in this. And Trudy is kidnapped throughout the course of the show. She's held in a trailer there, too. So everything's the same, but it's not the same. If memory serves, too, in the TV show, I think Trudy's like hanging from the ceiling. And in this, she's sitting down. And in the original, too, I think it was like more of like a specific kidnapping. And in this, it's more just to sort of disrupt things and let Crockett and Tubbs know that the white supremacists are more clever than you might have thought they were. You just thought they were a bunch of redneck Nazis, but they weren't. So they kidnapped Trudy, and of course it's not under the same circumstances, but I still love that it does tie the TV show into this. But then I don't love how they didn't bring in Don Johnson and Philip Michael Thomas. That just doesn't make sense to me. And that's where I'm leaving it. So thank you so much for hanging out with me for almost 5 minutes while I discussed Michael Mann's 2005 less than perfect feature film, Miami Vice. Like always, if you like this review, don't forget to do something nice for somebody. But most importantly, like always, please don't forget that the world is actually a better place because you're in it. I'm getting out of here. Have a good night.